it's very difficult to answer a right time or a wrong time. The fact of the matter is that work experience does contribute a great deal to management education, because management education, like say medicine and law, is a professional program. It's not like say studying English literature or studying biology in a classroom. It's a practice. So coming in with work experience helps. At Dayananda Sagar University, our average work experience ranges between 6.5 to 7 years, which is fantastic.
Yes.
Because we compare with the best. In fact, we have a couple of years of head start over, say, the IIM Bangalore, which I understand comes with about 5 years of work experience. We're very happy to get students with 7 years because it lifts the peer discussion in the class. And I would suggest that, say, about 2 to 3 years or 2 or more years is a good enough experience for people to take on an executive MBA program. However, we get students with greater experience, but I would say that about 2 years is a good average experience to have before you embark on such a program.
Fantastic, sir. So an average experience at Dayananda Sagar University is about 6.5 to 8 years. And you suggest that anybody with 2 years of experience would be an ideal fit for them to go ahead and do an executive MBA with, right? So point taken, and thank you so much for that insight. And now I would like to invite Likitha. Likitha, I would really like to ask you, your journey at Dayananda Sagar University. You were one of the students in the first batches of ours, and we really want you to give our audience some insights about how well your experience has been. Likitha, if you could answer that.
Good evening to all. I would like to thank you, Professor. So basically, I got to know DSU is only because of you.
My pleasure. It is my pleasure. Yes.
So it was me who got in touch with you to inquire about executive MBA. I had too many questions in my mind when I first called you and asked if executive MBA would support my career. Probably when I took in DSU as my opinion, I was in my second year of my career. Okay. So it was just then when I had started. It was a fresh level when I started off with. I was at a base level when I started off. So when I considered DSU, I was very scared to talk to people, go present. And I was a very kind of not that open kind of person to go speak. So once I enrolled myself at DSU, the course structure was explained to me, and the fee structures was very minimal and affordable. And they were also we had decent installments to pay them, and they were not demanded to pay at one shot. So it was more affordable and easy to enroll ourselves at DSU. So the first point to think if we can afford it or not. So they are very kind of affordable. And second thing, the course structure is very beautiful. So if I had considered a distance MBA, probably I wouldn't have got that network, what I've got now, or the alumni status, what I've got from DSU. Wherein we get every week a webinar or a seminar is there where we get insights about the industries, what is happening in the industries. So going about the course structure, it was about a 16 months course structure, and it was spread into 4 semesters. And all the 4 semesters, we had all good faculties wherein we got to learn a lot of practical experience from them, not only what is there in the books or what we had to only for doing an MBA to get a certificate. We had case studies which were explained in detail to us. So the professors all were very much approachable, not only during the weekend MBAs, MBA hours, we were able to access them. They were accessible throughout our courses, and even now they are accessible. Even the assignments, what were provided and what we had to do, project works, what we were given was all about the practical exposures, what is required to be on job. So I feel it was a great experience being there and learning. It has helped me advance my career in a very better way. So I can see me in a very good position now. Thank
That's
you.
actually an incredible journey, Likitha. You have actually given us, the entire questions that most of the students were generally asking us. You have summed it up so beautifully with your experience. That's the reason that we have somebody from the industry to talk about the FAQs, or the frequently asked questions about the executive MBA and the journey. So Likitha, you told us that just the initial time of your career, you had about 2 to 3 years of experience, and then you opted for an executive MBA. Did it ever strike you? I mean, a lot of people have this myth that executive MBA or a distance MBA or a correspondence MBA has no real market value as such, apart from a paper degree. So did you have any such blocks, or mind blocks about not doing an executive MBA with respect to the industry acceptance?
So probably I had that fear when I had to join. But once I enrolled myself and I went through the entire program, and now, so probably I feel no, it is all equivalent to a regular MBA. And I feel it is recognized the same way, same as a regular MBA.
So can you help our audience and the participants know about what was it when you started off after your graduation? What was your graduation, and after your work experience in your first company, then you stepped into executive MBA at Dayananda Sagar University, and then your progression into your career path. Can you give our audience some insights about, if you're comfortable sharing your experience with respect to your increments and your promotions, that would also motivate a lot of them to consider joining DSU.
So yes, so when I started off at DSU, as I mentioned, I was at a start level. So it was an analyst when I joined. So when I started pursuing my MBA, probably after my first year, I got my promotion at EY. So I was working at EY. That was my previous company where I started off, and I was in DSU. So before I gave my fourth sem exams, I was able to find a job in a startup.
Okay.
So it was so now I work for Symphony Innovation. So it's a beautiful company which recognizes my degree, as well as so probably my increments or anything which I have to mention. Probably I got a 40% hike than what I was getting previously after completing my degree. So it has helped me improve my presentation skills and present myself better way, where I was not able to do it in spite of having knowledge, or I had that in me, but I was not able to put it up to anybody to express what I wanted to tell them. But now probably I can do it through a presentation or give them more insights about what I have learned. So budgeting and all those stuffs, what I've learned from MBA is all helping me now.
Wow, a 40% hike in about 2 years is what I could say with respect to the growth that you had. And this happened during pandemic, if I'm right?
Yes. So no, I shifted the job before pandemic. 4 months before pandemic.
Okay.
So
Fantastic.
yeah, recent increment was also good. So pandemic is also not impacted on my increments.
Okay. So do you think, Likitha, if had you not done an executive MBA 2 years ago, 3 years ago, do you think your life would have your professional life would have been different, or do you think the decision that you took 2 years ago was the most important decision of your life?
I feel it was the most important decision of my life. So I feel an MBA, executive MBA was most important because we get practical exposures doing job, but to keep our skills upskilled, we have to pursue a professional course where we get ourselves skilled up in a not in a professional way, but a personal development is more required. So on job, you professionally grow, but by doing an executive MBA, probably personal development is also going to happen, is what I feel.
Fantastic. Great, motivation for most of our participants, I guess, Likitha. I think it's an incredible journey. And Captain Nagaraj, would you like to add on some points of your teaching experience with Likitha. She was a student, I'm sure, and she being a gold medalist. For all the participants, I think I missed to highlight the point that Likitha is one of the finest students that Executive MBA the Dayanada Sagar University has to offer, and she's a gold medalist. So, Captain Nagaraj, would you like to, highlight a little more about the personality, what Likitha as a student had shown in your classes as a student?
Yeah, so of course, the fact that she topped the program for that particular year across 3 batches speaks for itself in terms of dedication and discipline. And as we go through life, you will eventually find that intelligence and knowledge acumen are one part of the story. Your ability to sort of the grit that people display, the resilience and the focus start getting more and more important. And the much misused word attitude comes into the picture. So all these come together, and when these sort of come together and a person is able to focus and stretch themselves, because please remember that the Executive MBA program is an MBA program, but compressed into 17 months. And there is a lot of self-learning which the student has to do. Unlike a full-time MBA program where they're spending more time in a class and so on and so forth. So what this means is that the student needs to put in a great deal of effort. So that is again one of the prices that they pay in terms of taking up a full-time job as well as pursuing an MBA program, is that they need to stretch themselves. So I would sort of gently tell all participants who aspire to get a management degree through an Executive MBA program to steel themselves, before they come into the program. I also want to clearly distinguish between there are different kinds of management programs. And so today there are full-time MBA programs where you sit in a class. There are full-time online MBA programs where you take it online. There are distance education programs where you get books, notes, material, and so on and so forth. For example, IGNOU runs a brilliant distance education program. Several universities run a full-time online MBA program. Then you have the hybrid program that we do, that is a combination of classroom and online, and it's weekend. It's an classic Executive MBA program, and these are all very different programs. The problem with a distance education program, nothing wrong with the quality of the program, and like I said, IGNOU runs a brilliant program. The problem is that the pass percentages are abysmally low. So if you look at, say, figures that IGNOU puts out for its distance education MBA program, which is recognized again worldwide, there is no problem with its recognition. Yeah, it sort of hovers around 10%. That means 90% of people who enroll will not complete this program, and that's a huge figure. And why does that happen? That happens because, again, many people do not have the inherent grit to complete such a program because if they're not motivated on a daily basis. When you come to, say, Executive MBA program like ours, something that I really took good care of was to develop a very strong support staff for students. So this support staff will keep pursuing you. They will chase you, and they will make sure you finish your assignments. They will make sure you come for the examinations. And our pass percentage in terms of people completing the program is 95%. And so just compare the two. We are at 95% completion, while classically distance education programs are at about 10%. Online full-time MBA programs are very new to the Indian milieu. So we have to wait and watch as to what are the completion rates there. Of course, completion rates in full-time programs, again, compare with us in terms of students finishing the program and moving on. And today, really, people really don't care about how you got your degree, unless, of course, you go to one of those really top-class business schools. They're more concerned about what you know and how you solve problems, because eventually the role of a manager is to solve a problem. And you can get your degree from wherever you get it, but if you can't solve business problems for organizations, they're not going to keep you there to warm the chair. And they're going to find somebody else who can solve their problems. So eventually, the quality of your degree rests on the fact as to what kind of problems you can solve, how you solve them, how quickly you solve them, and what is the decision you make in solving problems and the solution you come by. And that is what matters at the end of the day. So Professor Kirmani, I think I just went through the different sets of management programs that are available.
Yes, sir.
And what does industry look for when they hire somebody in terms of a management degree?
Fantastic, sir. I think you have given us the overview of how the Indian education system, basically works, which is very, very important for our audience to understand that when they come out of college, most of them are not very sure why they should do an MBA. It could be out of peer pressure, or family just wants you to get an additional degree, or somebody who is not very clear about their career path of it. That segment of students who get into the top tier 1 or tier 2 colleges, including the IIMs or the XLRIs or any of such top institutions. Of course, their foundation of the students right from their 10th and 12th and their degree has been very, very rock solid. So they exactly know that management degree, and then getting into a premium company or a corporate life is something that would they would sail through that phase. But majority of the Indians, they don't, especially ones who are coming from tier 2 and tier 3. And I personally have consulted and spoken to a lot of students in the past 2.5 years of my association with Dayanada Sagar University's Executive MBA program. They come with about 3 years, 4 years of experience, but they're not able to get to that mid-level management roles. Whereas you see somebody with a full-time MBA get into mid-management roles if they are coming out from IIMs and stuff. But most of them, they feel threatened by getting into the top middle management roles, and then they feel that an executive MBA can actually save their jobs or their career. Is that the right mindset for them to have? Because they do it out of fear, is what I'm trying to come at, sir.
I don't think people do it out of fear. People do it out of need, I think. Fear is a very strong emotion. So we leave it alone. If you look at career progression, what does it mean? What does a career mean actually? Let's try to define it quickly. So classically, what happens is that fundamentally, you need to get a job. And so that is what is called as functional skills. You need functional skills. So you're an engineer, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're a BBA graduate, and so on and so forth. And so people get jobs based on their functional skills. And then you enter an organization. But that's not a career. So the next step is, how do you find a seat at the table? And what does a seat at the table mean? That is, are you part of the decision-making process? That is, so if you're not part of the decision-making process, other people will make decisions for you. Yeah. So, so if you are not able to make decisions, then other people are going to sit at the table and make decisions for you. So you might as well find yourself a seat at the table. And beyond that, you need to make an impact. And that is, you need to leave the building. That is, you're impacting society, or you're impacting a larger set of people. So That is what happens when you say that I'm making an impact. You're leaving the building and you're talking to stakeholders beyond your immediate circle. So that's a career. Eventually, if you can achieve these three things, you had a solid, robust career. Unfortunately, most people, even people who go to say tier one colleges, say the like IITs and so on, stop at the first phase. They're very strong functionally, but they miss out on finding a seat at the table and leave alone making an impact on larger society. What an MBA can do for you is to get you that seat at the table. That is, it allows you to, become a more well-rounded personality where you can articulate your thoughts well, you can frame a narrative, you can solve problems and make decisions. And so people are ready to listen to you and allow you to make decisions for them and give you a seat at the table. Once you have that, you can then move on to making a larger impact. So people must understand that to get a seat at the table, they should be able to influence people. And that can happen if you have a well-rounded education. And that is why an MBA is important. An MBA is important not from the point of view of where you got it from. The MBA is important from what you do with it in finding a seat at the table and then making an impact. So that is why the quality of your teachers are fundamentally important. I don't think the difference lies between a full-time and an executive program and so on and so forth. More importantly, it is the quality of the faculty that you have, the curriculum and the pedagogy and what you learn so that you can sort of make an impact and get people to listen to you.
Fantastic, sir. This actually, brings me on to asking you a very, very important question. When we are counseling students, they are more worried. The number one question is, "Kya humko placement milega?" I mean, can you assist us in placements? Because that's a very, very common bait with respect to the full-time courses, because even we have been associated with the MBA student community over the last 7-8 years. The first question is not about the quality of faculty or the curriculum. They ask us about the placement and the ranking system, which is commonly used in the B schools. But I feel that what keeps Dayananda Sagar University apart is with your leadership, managing both PG programs, full-time and executive MBA programs, is the quality of faculty and the curriculum, of course, which you have, very, very beautifully designed with the industry experts. If you could just give our audience a little more insight about what went into creating such a rigorous, up-to-date curriculum, along with the choices and the finest faculty that you have handpicked. Can you throw a little more light so that our audience could understand that it is just not the college name and the ranking, but the faculty, the quality of faculty, which matters the most? If you could just help our audience understand this important factor, sir.
Absolutely, because Dayananda Sagar, the group as such, is like India. It's a old civilization and a young country. So we are an old institution with a great legacy, close to 7 decades. In fact, we're celebrating our founder's 100th year birth anniversary this year, 2021. Shri Barrister Dayananda Sagar. And the university is a young university. It's about 6 years old now. Specifically talking about the Executive MBA program, when I sort of established it, and then in 2018, I was clear about the fact about two things. One is that we needed to stay relevant and current as to what is happening in industry. Okay. So if you look around, we're changing. And what is that one change that is very evident? That is the rapid digitization of the world. And so we're very clear that technology is impacting much of what we do today. So you will find that we have programs in business analytics, we have programs in product management, we have product programs in logistics and supply chain, we have a specialization in IT management, and so on and so forth, while we have the traditional functional specializations like marketing, HR, finance, and so on and so forth. So we were very clear about what is relevant and current to today's world. And then we did the next best thing. We went out into industry. We consulted with experts. Our board of studies is very strong. I put together several committees which looked at our curriculum.
Yes.
And then we followed. And then I'm also very clear that to teach, you need deep functional specialization. So for example, I'm an expert in strategy and organizational theory and so on and so forth. I don't attempt to go and teach finance, and I don't expect an accounting professor to come and teach strategy. So we follow what is classically called a pixelated model, wherein I go and get faculty who are deep subject matter experts in a particular narrow area. And so just to tell you that our total faculty strength at the moment in the B school is about 75, and which is large. And so we have full-time scholarly professors who, the regular PhDs who publish, who do research, and so on and so forth. And we're also populated with a large number of adjunct professors who have specific, deep functional knowledge in a particular area. Many of them have been educated abroad. Many of them have held senior positions in industry, including CEO, and been on board of companies and so on and so forth. And so they come and teach students. And when they come and teach students, then you find that the transfer of knowledge is very, very impactful. So this whole program did not happen by sort of chance. It was carefully thought out, carefully planned and executed, and we were very clear as to what we were doing. And I also want to mention that we have, like Likitha mentioned, the program is affordable because I believe, and Dayanada and Sagar University believes, and the group believes, and our tagline is education for all. And in that sense, we are not an elitist organization. So we want a large number of people to come and get higher education, become better managers, contribute to industry in India, and make this a very strong industrial country. And in that sense, I think we've done a fantastic job. It was not very difficult for me to raise the fees and keep it at a much higher pegging, but we kept it at a very affordable rate or tuition fees of 2,25,000, which I think a lot of working professionals can afford, simply because we wanted to put out greater number of managers for industry. And just before I hand over to you, I want to tell you that I don't consider the student to be my customer. It never works. My customer is the industry. My customer are organizations which are actually thirsty for talent, and they're not getting the right talent. So the student is our product. We work on the student very carefully. We develop them into brilliant managers, and we hand them over to our customer, that is the industry. And I can tell you at the moment, the customer, that is the industry, is extremely happy with the products that we put out into the market.
Brilliant, sir. I mean, this thought, of course, can only come from, an educationalist like you. Very well said about, you don't create, students are not your customers, but your products. So I think this is the fundamental takeaway for those participants who are actually looking forward to do their executive MBA or to get their career upgraded by an additional degree, to consider Dayanada and Sagar University as their best option. Why? Because the quality of faculty are exceptionally great. The curriculum is latest. It is not that you're learning something in 2010 and 2008 curriculum as such. The curriculum is quite latest and it has been upgraded each year, right? So even Captain Nagaraj, before I could go ahead with Likitha with the next question, the last thing that I would really like to ask you is, in this pandemic, where most of the companies and most of the corporates were struggling to retain their employees because of various challenges that pandemic had brought in. We saw a multifold responses from working professionals enrolling for this program, yeah, in spite of having that cash crunch and that job loss fear. So what do you think is the key factor that people enrolled for an executive program with Dayananda Sagar University during this pandemic phase?
So I think that the realization is dawning on several people that unless you have a seat at the table, other people are going to make decisions for you, and nobody likes that. Human beings, by and large, value independence and value freedom. You want to make decisions for yourself. You don't want to be dictated to. And if you're going to sort of hang around with only functional skills, then you are not really, you're going to be pushed around eventually. And it's very interesting that, say, my father retired at 60, and he had a long career. Today, retirement ages are dropping, and you can see that many people at about 50 are about finished. One of the reasons is that they have stopped making an impact. I think the pandemic has accentuated that. The pandemic has shown that how unforeseen changes in the environment can sort of start impacting your jobs. And so people want to steel themselves or want to, in some ways, insulate themselves against risk. And one way of doing that classically, anywhere, in any society, is by education. And what better way to do that than by getting a management education? And like I said, you become a better manager, you become a better decision maker, you can transition careers. For example, when I talk about transitioning career, I think I'm a pretty good example where I transitioned from being a ship's captain, a ship's commander, in a purely technical domain to a management domain just because I did an MBA. And it allowed me to sort of take to teaching, become a professor, and eventually here I am as dean. So it's been a spectacular shift in careers, and that is what an MBA can do for people. It can give them. So suppose people are in, say, a marketing domain or a pure technical domain, they can hope to move off as a business analyst, as a finance professional, as a marketing professional, HR professional, or manage projects, and so on and so forth. And so the MBA program is actually a very exciting program because you learn a great deal. And I think you were right, or I think Likitha mentioned it, where MBA programs are classically where you learn a broad range of skills which allows you to tackle most problems that you face in industry. And I will talk more about it probably with my next question, and I will sort of allow you to go to our other guest for the evening.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Coming back to you, Likitha. Likitha, what advice? I mean, we're just about 12 minutes behind our Q&A opening up for our participants. So what is that key advice that you would like to give to our participants who have spent their valuable 1 hour on a Friday evening with us? Some of them are aspiring to do their MBA. Some of them are confused with their career path. With your experience, you've been there, done that. What is that one advice that you would like to give to our participants? Likitha.
So probably 2-3 years back, I was in the same position where I had a confusion whether to take up Executive MBA or not. So after considering Executive MBA, it has provided me a lot of potential, and probably I can take up any decision or help me come out of a problem easily when I'm stuck in between anything. So probably doing an executive MBA is a better option than not doing any professional courses.
Correct. Okay. So you would, on a broad sense, would highly recommend people to get their executive MBA done at Dayananda Sagar University, because you have been a fantastic alumni, and with all due respect to, your hard work that has got you a gold medal and the 40% hike in your, professional career path. How has it helped you in managing your personal life as well as your professional life along with the studies? Because this is one of the most commonly asked questions, where people are not able to devote time and dedication. It's so difficult to work from Monday to Friday. Sometimes some of our students have to even work on a Saturday and Sunday if they are from the retail or from the real estate industry. So how is it that what is the secret of your success that if you could highlight to our participants, please?
So probably, as you mentioned, even I have worked on weekends when I was attending classes at Executive MBA.
Yes.
So the only key thing is please attend classes. So attending classes is the only thing where you can gain maximum knowledge, and the study materials and what explanations are being given by the professors in the classes, and the case studies which are done in the classes, and the way they are solved is all going to help you give your exams. So studying is something which you have to do, but then attending classes covers 80% of what you can actually write in your exams. They are taught in such a way that the way of their teaching helps us to grasp at once, and you can probably revise them and go write your exams. So I found it very easy by attending classes and doing project works and assignments provided, and all the professors are ready to guide us not once but several times where we have doubts. So they do even help us not only during the classes, but even after the classes. You have any doubts, you can talk to them personally and they'll help you on solving all your queries. So the key thing is only concentration, attending classes and doing all the assignments and your project work with 100% dedication. So it is not really difficult to manage professional, personal, as well as your educational life, is what I tell at DSU.
Fantastic. I think it's a great moment for all the participants who are here. I'm sure some of them are trying to analyze if this could be the right time or the right decision. Just to keep the time factor in mind, we would love to have more questions from the participants. If you have any, you can request to unmute and ask us on the go, or if you would like to chat and put that across on the chat. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Professor Archie said it would be nice if you could see Likitha. Probably Likitha, your video was off, but I just happened to see it now. Professor Archie D'Souza also said among those who take a project management that I teach are some active project managers. Here, Captain Nagaraj, I would like to highlight or probably raise a question from the students is about what is the right specialization. Students generally ask this question even before they sign up for the program, is about I'm not too sure which specialization is good for us. Oh, hi Likitha, good to see you. I wish I could I wish I didn't miss Professor Archie D'Souza's chat. He would have been so happy to see you about half an hour earlier. But nevertheless, thank you so much. So Captain Nagaraj, I was coming to you and asking, the specialization aspect, because you mentioned the general specializations as well as some of the key specialization, which includes artificial intelligence and data analysis and so on and so forth. Question from the student is, how do I know what is the right specialization for me? Because some of them are not too very clear about the direction of the career path that they would like to go. If you could solve that for some of them, please.
So there is, first fully 1 year is are a set of courses, and a student gets a good feel. And please understand that our intake is about, say, 500 odd students in a year. That means you've got a fantastic peer group. You're meeting people from several of the top multinational organizations who come to study at Dayananda Sagar University. So you exchange notes with people of your own age and find out what's happening. Having said that, who am I to put a price on specialization? So for example, how can you put a price on somebody who's flying, say, a fighter jet, or somebody who's serving in the Indian Army and at a young age defending the country? It is your own calling, and it is what you want out of life. So the future high-paying specializations are definitively in areas where technology affects business substantively. And so you can sort of look at, say, specializations like analytics, or where there's an artificial intelligence touch to it, logistics and supply chain, systems and IT, and so on and so forth. However, having said that, these come with a certain level of technical know-how that is required. And you also have other specializations like traditionally, like HR, finance, and so on and so forth, which might pay a little less, but are more stable, and people sort of look to them for stability, right? So I think people should follow their heart and then look at those specializations which they're comfortable as. So let me again give you an example of when I transitioned careers and when I was commanding ships and getting a really great salary abroad because I was part of the international industry. I gave it up one fine day and came down and took up a job as an assistant professor for not too much of money. But then I got a great deal of satisfaction in other areas. So there are several aspects which govern what kind of job you do, where you do it, and how you do it, and whom you work for, and what is your ambient culture, and so on and so forth. And I would recommend to people to look at their own value systems as to what your value systems are and what kind of life you like to lead, and choose wisely. So here, unfortunately, again, many people choose specializations with their head, which may not work actually. Bring the heart into the mix of things, and feel comfortable with whatever you're doing. And then don't look at your neighbor and keep wondering whether I should have taken that specialization, and so on and so forth. I think it's not important. You are the most important thing. Decide for yourself.
Fantastic, sir. Fantastic. I think that has actually helped most of the participants understand the importance of using not just their mind, but also their heart and soul in terms of committing themselves for this course. So we are now, coming close to our one fantastic session. I hope it was meaningful for most of them. You have disabled the unmute option for you all. If you feel that there's any question that you could put across to Captain Nagaraj Subrao or Ms. Likitha, you're most welcome to unmute yourself and ask question. Or if you are not comfortable in unmuting yourself, you could definitely drop in a chat box. So we are open to take questions. Anybody from our participants can do that. Most welcome. While somebody is typing down as such, I would like to tell that to all my participants that Executive MBA at Dayananda Sagar University, we have a batch start coming up in the month of November batch. And it's going to be one of the most favored batch for 2021. Why? Because the curriculum is upgraded. It's fantastic. The industry faculty from the industries are going to be there. And as Captain Nagaraj and Likitha mentioned that it is a case study based methodology that has been taught, and it is not just the bookish knowledge, but the faculty who come from industry experience are going to help you understand the concepts with practical experience that will help you become better leaders, better managers, because you are solving real-time business problems. right? So there are strategic analysis that you will understand with the case studies and try and solve problems and um, be there into the corporate world. Okay, so if there is any question, if there is anything that you could reach out to us, you're most welcome to visit our website, which is dsuemba.in, or just reach out to me. Professor Kumail Kirmani is at your service to help you understand anything with regard to your career progression. And I think we have one question from our student. It says that his name is Sajad Ali. This year I joined BBA regular at Dayanada Sagar University. I really didn't expect maths to be a subject for BBA regular. So he's a BBA student. He's finding it a little difficult to accept maths to be a regular subject. So what is the advice that you would like to give him, Captain Nagaraj?
So, math is a part of our daily life. You when you go out, you calculate, you're buying something from a vegetable vendor, you are using arithmetic. And I would not, again, like to use the word math at the BBA level. It is more of maybe arithmetic and advanced arithmetic. Math you meet actually in advanced engineering courses and so on and so forth. So I would advise Mr. Ali that to not panic, to look at it as a part of everyday life where you require that amount of basic arithmetic in dealing with business problems and so on and so forth. He's also going to meet, say, statistics. And if they have a course in operations management, then there are going to be transportation problems and so on and so forth. If you're going to do project management, you're going to meet PERT, CTC, CPM and things like that. So which all involve certain amount of quote unquote math. It's going to keep, unfortunately, popping up all through higher education. If you want to do research methodology, it's going to be there too. So the idea is to, become friends with math rather than look at it as a bit of an enemy and then develop a dislike for it. Because it's there, it's going to be there, and all business managers will need certain amount of math.
Great. I think it's a very important thing, Mr. Sajad Ali, that number one, you were surprised that, you had math as such, as Captain Nagaraj specification, mentioning that it is not just math matters, more to do with arithmetic and stuff. So go ahead and enjoy your learning experience. There's nothing called as you hate math, so it's too difficult and stuff. But try and involve yourself, give it a little more attention than the regular subjects. Maybe you'll be able to, get the maximum benefit out of it. If not today, maybe 3 years down the line, right? And the next question, Priyanka, thank you so much. Priyanka is thanking us. Thank you so much for the deep talk about the Executive MBA program. Thank you so much for attending, Priyanka. Vaishnavi is asking us a question. Can we expect a good future in MBA? So Captain Nagaraj, would you like to take this question?
So I'm not a fortune teller, but I can assure you that it's a common saying from many years ago that the harder you work, the luckier you get. Yeah. So obviously, if you work hard and do a good program in management, the chances of you opening up opportunities for yourself in industry, which is rapidly changing, are much brighter. Whether it is definitively going to happen is very difficult to say. The chances of it happening are extremely bright in India that is growing. And I also want to tell all our young guests here that you may or may not have realized that in another decade, India is going to be the youngest country in the world. That means you're going to have several million young people competing for jobs. And unless you have done something different and you can add more value to organizations, though they're going to look at somebody else who can bring that to the table. So I would actually urge all young people to make their future more robust and more sort of um, better by working hard, doing programs that are relevant, and staying current with the industry and adding value to industry. And that's how I think they're going to enable their fortune. You're on mute, Professor Kirmani.
I'm on mute. I'm so sorry on that. Thank you so much, Captain Nagaraj Subrao. Vaishnavi, I think your answer to that fantastic question about good future is well answered by Captain Nagaraj Subrao. I think we are done with this fantastic evening. I really would like to thank once again Captain Nagaraj Subrao for his time and insights and the knowledge that he's brought on the table. I hope our participants would definitely take this home with great learning and enthusiasm, and I hope that some of them would definitely like to join the program at Dayanada Sagar University, one of the best in India that we have for executives and working professionals. Please reach out to us if there is any query, and we will be very happy to assist you. And Likitha, thank you so much for accepting this invitation. You were a great student, a great professional, and thank you so much for your lovely insights. And I wish you all the very best. And yeah, that's it from my end. And thank you so much to all the participants for giving us your valuable time. Good night. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much, Captain Nagaraj, once again, Likitha, and all the participants. Would see you all shortly again.
Good night.
I would like to end the meeting now. Good night. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye, sir. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kumar. Bye.